paper. And then you'll just need some scissors, glue. I'm going to share my screen because I have it sitting there. Here we go. So scissors, glue stick, pencil for sure. If you have a ruler and you want to use it, you can. I'll show you. You can eyeball some of them, but I know some people like things to be very precise. That's definitely something you can have. You can have some tape. I didn't need to use any tape, but I know there are people who really like to use this. So you can have that and find them. And that's pretty much it. So it's very basic materials today. All right, any questions before we get started? Okay, good. All right, so I'm just going to kind of reorganize my materials here. The white and orange paper, I'm going to put to the side. Don't need those until we're ready for the detailed part. And I'm just going to start with one sheet of black construction paper. Okay. And hopefully my lights situation is okay. This, my office at this time of day does not have the best light. All right, so my paper, I'm going to turn it horizontally. Right, so this is it. Right, so we have vertically, right, or portrait. And then we have it horizontally. This is landscape. So I'm going to turn my paper horizontally. So it's like this. Okay, and again, whatever color paper you use, if you're making a pumpkin one, you have orange. You know, I'm making the bat. And I will show you, I did made one earlier here. They're pretty fun. All right, so I have it, my paper here horizontally, and we're going to fold it in half, right? So this is basically, you know, taco fold or a long fold, whatever verbiage you would like to use for that. So we're going to fold it in half. Now, if you are good at eyeballing this, then you can just kind of watch and then eyeball. I do like to use the ruler because I think it's just nice sometimes to know I took my time. So I'm going to use my ruler, and I'll zoom in here for a little bit. And I'm just going to measure down 1 inch and make a circle. And it's a little hard to see with this black paper. I was hoping with my shiny light you'd see it. Let's see if I can. There we go. So I made my mark there. I'm going to take my ruler and I will make a mark at the other end at 1 inch. And then I can connect the dots.
And Melissa, we just had a few people who joined us because they were still waiting in Melissa's room. If you can just kind of quickly.
Yep, I will repeat. All right, so friends who are just popping in, we're starting with a sheet of black paper. We turned it horizontally, right? So it's longer this way. And then we did a fold. So we folded it in half, a long fold or a taco fold. Let people get caught up to that. And again, if you need, oh, Remy, if you need me to go over something again, feel free to just let me know. Okay, once it's folded, I use a ruler. You can eyeball this. Like I said, you could use your thumb to kind of make, you know, from the tip of your thumb or nail to where the joint is. You could definitely use that as like a little non-standard unit there. And then I just marked off where that inch is. Now again, if you are like me and you like the ruler, kind of keeping everything nice and neat, you can use it. Or again, you can eyeball, like I said, you could use your thumb and just go across the page. But I'm going to mark off every inch here. And this is at the fold side. I should make sure everyone's aware. So when you fold the paper, you got a fold side and you have an open side. Okay. So where we marked off an inch across, that's at the open end of the paper. But where we're going to make little marks going across, that's at the fold side. So I'm at the fold. And I'm just going, and again, these do not need to be precise. I'm just going to make a mark at every inch. And if you don't have a ruler, like I said, you can use your thumb, you could use a paper clip, you can use anything that's kind of handy to help you make them, you know, as even as possible. Or you could eyeball it. Like I said, I'll kind of what you can see in the light. I've got my little dots. All right, does anyone need me to pause here for a minute? Okay, that's good, because actually while we're waiting, I'm going to give a little trivia question here. I've got some Halloween trivia, and you can type the answers in the chat. So the first question I have, first trivia question is, how many pounds of candy corn do you think are produced each year? How many pounds of candy corn do you think are produced each year? And you can type that in the chat. And again, we'll just wait for all of our friends to get caught up. Ooh, let's see. Ooh, billion. 300 billion. Too many. 12 million. Well, I think everyone is pretty close to being spot on there. It is 35 million pounds of candy corn is produced each year, which actually comes to about 9 billion pieces. So that means you could give everybody in the world could get a piece of candy corn. How much they make. Yeah, it's definitely too much. Jen, you're right. All right, is everyone ready for the next step? Maggie, are you ready? Yeah? Grammy, are you ready? Good? Okay. All right, so the next step is we're going to use our scissors. Okay. Now we have these nice little marks here across our paper, and we're going to cut straight up from the dot we made here, your mark here, to this line. Okay, now be careful. Remember, do not cut all the way through. All right, I'm going to hold my paper up. And I'm just going to use my scissors, and these don't have to be perfectly straight. And I get to that line and stop. So I have little tabs coming off. I'm cutting this at the wrong end. I'm right-handed, so I should have started at the other end. Again, just cutting straight up until you reach that line. And this is going to form the base of our lantern. And like I said, no matter what you're making, if you're making the bat, the pumpkin, a ghost, any creature you want, Frankenstein, this is the basic start for all of them. So this happens for every single one. And when you open it up, you should have this nice, fun, and it looks like this. Now, if it didn't happen, and you accidentally did everything from the wrong end, like I said, if you accidentally had flipped this and you had the line here and cut up, it would open up and they'd be kind of reversed, where you'd have solid here and then they'd tassel out. You'd have to redo it because it won't make a lantern. You can save it for a different cool project, maybe like a firework or a pom-pom, but it won't work for the lantern. So make sure you get this formation here, right, where it's kind of open slats.
Yeah, good job, Maggie. Can you show it again?
Fix my screen here. There we go. Oh, good. Yep,
Yay.
Maggie's got it. Oh, Maggie, you're gonna make a pumpkin. Yeah.
And Remy got it.
Good. Yay. Okay.
How are our adults doing? Wonderful.
Perfect. Okay. So next step, glue step. Okay, we're gonna glue the base together. Now what you can do, now I don't mind this, so I'm gonna leave it, because right now you do have pencil markings on this side, so you can turn it, you can kind of refold it over. It's a little kind of hard to do, so I'm just gonna leave mine. But if you didn't want pencil fold, you'd have to refold it the other way. I don't mind. sometimes I use them as guidelines, so I'm gonna leave it. So we're gonna take our glue, and we're gonna put glue all across our last strip here, right? This last edge, and be generous, okay? And I use my fingers to help brace the paper, but don't go light at this part, because if you don't get this glued down pretty well, it'll keep popping open on you. Okay, so you're gonna put glue, and I fill that whole thing up. Okay. Once you've got your glue on there, you're gonna kind of take it, and we're gonna curve it around so that it'll meet the other side. So I kind of flip it over, right? Just to show. This side I just flipped under, so the glue's still facing up. Okay, and then once you have it up, you're going to kind of turn it over, and it's hard to see. Again, my camera's gonna block it for a minute. And then you're just gonna glue it to the other end. The nice thing is you can reach your hands through. Okay, so this is what it'll look like. Okay, so curve it over, reach it through, and get your hands in there and smooth it out. Make sure it sticks nice and well. You don't have to do it from the top. Use that table surface to help. Right, and there we go. Good. And once you've got it glued together, I would say before you do anything, I'm just going to put it to the side. Let that glue set. We don't need this for a little bit. So we get it glued together, and then, yeah, put it away. Make sure that glue has time to kind of really get stuck to itself and start drying. I know my desktop is really bright. And while we're doing that, you're going to get your other piece of black paper or colored paper, whatever color you're using. All right,
Maggie, did it work, or do you have a hard time? I think you glued it the wrong.
Yeah, so Maggie, I think unglue it real quick, and then you want to glue it, and I'll unglue mine real quick since it's not quite set yet. So I'll re-show that, Maggie. And don't worry, Maggie, since we're gonna leave these be, you'll have time to let this set. So if we put glue on the end of the fringes here.
On the short side, right? On the short side
the short
of the paper.
side. Yep. Okay, don't worry about any glue that's here. That'll dry, okay? Things might get a little sticky on your hands, but project will be good. And friends, while we wait for everyone to get caught up, I'm gonna do another trivia question here, still about candy corn. But does anyone know what candy corn was originally called? You can type it into the chat. What do you think the original name of candy corn might be? All right. So Maggie, did you get your lantern re-glued the opposite way? In the chat, we've got somebody said they think candy corn might have been called teeth. All right, so Maggie, if you put glue on this side, so if you look right, the fringes, right, they're all going straight up and down like this, right? And you want the glue to go straight up and down too, just like that on the short side. So put the glue on, a little extra on. Okay, Maggie, and then they're going to fold them up so that they meet at opposite ends, right? So the two ends meet. And you can turn it over and use your hands to really push, get those to stick together. So it looks like this. And Maggie, you should be able to do this. Now, again, we're gonna wait till it's really dry before we squish it too much. And remember, Maggie, if there's anyone there who can help, always ask for help.
Any other versions for the candy name?
Oh yeah, any other guess? We've got one guess with teeth. There's part of me, yeah, you kind of picture them being like jagged, gross teeth. It was actually called chicken feed because it looked like the feed that they would throw to the chickens. Because again, it's basically just 100% like sugar. So yeah, they called it chicken feed. All right, are we all ready for the next step? Maggie, how you doing? You all caught up?
I hope so.
You still need help? Okay. Is someone helping you? Or are you still figuring it out on your own?
I'm trying to.
Try to. And thanks everyone for being patient while we make sure everyone gets caught up. Remy, how was yours? Did you get yours? In the court, you're good? Okay. Mindy and family, are you all, everyone good there? And again, you can use the reaction, just do the thumb up reactions on your, I know some families have a couple people participating, so it could be a little loud.
All right. Let's do another question and we'll give Maggie just a few more seconds, okay?
Do one more. Oh, okay, this is a good one. Who knows what was the original vegetable used for jack-o'-lanterns? So they weren't pumpkins early. The first jack-o'-lanterns were not pumpkins. They were something else. And you can type them in the chat, and or we can wait again if you can't type it in. Yeah, and you can do kid spelling. Kid spelling's fine. I taught kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth grade. I can read anything you type in there. I'll figure it out.
We should also probably ask what was the original country where Halloween started. Because I don't know, is it like everybody knows where Halloween started? Is it just me who didn't know?
Maybe we can, we'll do a follow that. Okay, so we got squash, a gourd, turnip. Any other guesses before I reveal? Tomato.
It would be a good jack-o'-lantern, not for long, but a good
It's
one.
not the same like that pumpkin shape. So the answer we were looking for. So turnip. So Remy got it. So turnip is what the true one was, but they did use gourds and squash. So basically any type of root vegetable. But does anyone know the country that a lot of these came from? Countries that these came from? Yeah, jack-o'-lanterns were not invented. Well, they weren't invented here in the United States. They came to the United States of America. From what place?
So I'm not the only one who didn't know that.
Yeah,
I have an excuse. Do you guys have an excuse?
Well, I mean, I didn't know until, probably a couple of years ago. I'm sure I only learned that because I think I use trivia like in my classroom. So
Yeah.
it's not common knowledge. Yeah. So the jack-o'-lantern tradition, not so much Halloween, but the jack-o'-lantern tradition that came from like Ireland, UK, like that area, some Northern Europe too, but yeah, mainly Ireland. They used it. Same thing though, was to kind of protect the family. So it had the same kind of scare bad things away. Same thought. All right, so we're going to do the next step. And Maggie, don't worry, so we're going to start making the pieces that are going to get glued onto the lantern. Now, if you're doing a pumpkin or a ghost, this step you're not going to need, but if you're doing the bat, again, you're going to have to do the wings. So you're going to take a piece of black, your other piece of black construction paper, and again, we're going to fold it in half, but instead of it doing it a thin fold where it went up 4 line, we're going to do a fat fold. And I already traced out a little bit here. So we're going to do kind of a fat fold. So it should look like a card, like a birthday card, right? And again, we're going to use symmetry here to help us. So again, for our school age kiddos and adults. So for symmetry, again, the nice thing is we only have to draw it once. And when we cut it out, it'll be the same on both sides. Okay, now Maggie, I think I saw your dad or somebody walk past. If you need any help getting your lantern to look like this, that'd be a time to grab them. And I can show them what it should look like, okay? All right, so I'm gonna retrace my wing here so you can see. So I just started at the top of the paper. And I just kind of drew just a curved line. Like that, so I did a curved line, just like an S, a stretched out S. And I started right at the top. Curved line, went. Now you could definitely do a much more traditional bat-shaped wing, but we kind of went with like a fancy, kind of cool Halloweenish version. So again, a normal bat-shaped wing would just kind of have like little kind of arches that would go across. It makes a thinner wing. So if you wanted to do a thinner wing, at this point, you could just do some arches that went across, right? Just some bumps. That'd be fine. We kind of did this more fancier version. I'm just going to do another curved line that goes down just a couple inches. And then you're going to make like teeth, right? Just start connecting pieces, make a line down. Kind of make teeth, and they don't have to be perfect. And I just kind of went across, just going up into the wing part. And then when you get close to the edge, yeah, so it's just kind of these, almost looks like teeth, right? Like dinosaur teeth coming down. And just connected them all together. As I said, if you're doing a ghost or a pumpkin or a different creature, this part you may not need. If you're making up your own crazy creature, you want to give it wings.
Is the fold in a certain spot?
Yeah, so the open side is here. You started at the fold. Okay, so we started at the fold. If you didn't do that, it's fine. When you cut it out, you're still going to have two wings. This just makes it easier to glue. So don't worry. If you did it at the opposite end, it's fine. You're still going to end up with two matching wings. So yeah, this one wasn't so worried about where you started drawing from, because really this whole part here is just for glue. So Maggie, I know you're doing a pumpkin, so you're probably set to wait. We're gonna get the eyes and details here next. Rami, you're making a bat, right? Okay. Oh, good. Okay, you got some wings going. Okay. Like that. These can be, I mean, they're Halloween funny, fun wings, so it can be any pattern you want. And then the O'Brien family, how are you all making out? Anyone need some more? And the nice thing with pencil, again, if something's not quite right, you can erase it. All right, looks like everyone is pretty good. Let's do one more. Let's do another trivia before we move on to the next step. Let's see. Okay, let's see who we're gonna do a very easy one, and everyone should get this one. And if you want to, you can even turn your microphone on and shout this one out. This is fine. What are the traditional Halloween colors? What are the traditional Halloween colors? You can type in the chat, or some of our younger kiddos You could probably just turn your mic on, call it out. If you really need help, you can just look at Remy. Remy's wearing them. Remy, what are those, the Halloween colors?
Orange, purple, black, green.
Yeah, orange, black, and then purple is like probably the newer one. I think when I was growing up, it was really just orange and black. And then more modern has gotten the purple part added into it. Okay, so once you have your wings drawn out, yep, black, orange, black and orange. Oh, green. Green's a good one too. Who did green? Why did he jump up so far? Oh, right. Yeah, green. Yeah, that kind of neon green, right? That real bright green. Okay. Yeah, that green. All right, so once you have your wings drawn, you can go ahead and cut them out. I will tell you now, this scrap paper that we're gonna have, we're gonna want to keep. Okay, so when you cut things out, make sure you are paying attention. We want to save this black paper for some of our other details. So I'm going to cut them out. And don't worry if you don't follow the lines exactly. They're really just guide lines, just so you can get the basic shape going. So you're going to cut out your wings. And I know I got a little close to my camera there. Trim this out. And after we open them up, if you wanted to do any changes, you could definitely do that before we glue them down. So again, I want to save this, the scrap paper I need to keep. I'm going to use that to make some other details. Keep this piece too, just in case. All right, and then when you open them up, you should have two wings. Now, they can be attached like this, or if they're separate, that's fine. You just need two matching wings. Good, up good, Remy. Cute. That could almost be its own little creature, Remy. We'll just give some of our friends a minute to get caught up. All right, while we're waiting, I said some friends are still cutting. Let's do another trivia. This one's a little, not so much tricky, but it's definitely a little easier than orange and black. So in the Middle Ages, okay, what Halloween creature were believed to be able to turn themselves into black cats? So what Halloween creature could turn themselves into black cats? Got a bat, a witch. Any other guesses? What Halloween creature could turn themselves into a bat? Oh, vampire.
I bet Laura knows.
And for this, yeah, so witch is one, yeah. So and that's why usually you'll see like the black cats and witches together, because they would think that they could actually turn into a black cat. It's also why black cats are considered to be bad luck. They're associated with inches. Yeah, and if we were going the opposite, yeah, so for Remy and Jen, if we said who could turn into a bat, that would be a vampire. So you two kind of matched up with another Halloween creature that can transform into something else. That's kind of funny how that happened. All right, so I think everyone is probably ready to get, if you have your wings, we're gonna glue the wings to the base, and the base should be dry enough now that you can definitely like accordion push it in. And so you'll be able to do this to be dry enough. Okay, good. All right, so again, we're gonna take our glue and we're gonna put glue on the wings. Now, if your wings are separate, you just have to put it on each end here, okay? If yours are together like mine, just put it in the center. Okay, so we're gonna glue our wings on, and just like with the lantern base, don't be shy with your, yep, that's fine, Laura, you can, whatever glues them on. So they just have to be on these, oh, it made a bat. So between yours and Remy's, they kind of made their own little creatures there. So then once you have your glue in the center, and I like to take, so where we originally glued these together, I like to make this the back because it's already got like a glue spot on it. So I'm going to take my back part here, right? This is where they were glued together, and I'm just going to kind of line it up. And I like to get the top pretty close together. It just needs to be perfect and glued in. And again, use your hand, go inside. All right, you can reach inside and push down, make sure that base and the wings get glued together. And again, for friends who are making pumpkins or ghosts, thank you for being patient. Okay, and then you should have this fun little fat body going. I got a little tip. I'm just gonna hold that over. Okay, once that's glued, just like before, I'm gonna put this to the side to make sure that glue gets set. So I'm just gonna move it over here, out of my way. All right, so the next step we're going to do, and you can get materials ready, is we're going to make the eyes. So for this part, you're going to need some of your colored paper, and you'll need some of your black scrap paper. Okay. This is the black scrap paper here. Oh, I will say too, if you want a handle for yours, so like this piece of black paper, since it's still together, I'm going to cut a strip off of it. You can use any color you want for the handles though. You can use like the orange, you can use purple, green. So we just talked about so many colors. So I'm just gonna cut a strip off of this paper before I cut anything else off of it. So I'm gonna save this for a handle at the end. I still have all this paper that I can use for details. So let's let people get caught up, have their next colors ready. Now, Maggie, if anyone's doing the pumpkin, this is the part that you jump into. We're gonna make the eyes and the features that go on to the face. Now, so for Maggie, you're doing a pumpkin, you need to cut out eyes, nose, and a pumpkin mouth. And you'll probably want to use black paper. Oh, we already started on it, good. Okay. All right, now for the eyes, and again, I mean, so Remy brought up too that our Halloween colors, there's a couple more. So if you wanted to use purple for your eyes instead of orange, right? So if I bring my sample back in, right? So this is using orange. You could use purple instead. So if you wanted to take this time to swap and use purple paper instead of orange, feel free to do that. I might do that. Seems like more fun than just black. So I'm actually going to switch to purple, but you can use orange, green, any color you want. But I'm going to use, this is purple. I don't know why it's showing up blue, but it's purple. Okay. The nice thing is we're not going to use all this, so you're not going to use up all your color. I'm going to cut about 3 inches. Just cut a 3-inch piece off. I can put the rest of it away for another project. So I've got about 3 inches of paper here. And if you've got a scrap piece, that's fine. I'm going to fold this over because I'm going to use symmetry again, and we're going to get 2 pieces only because one is an extra in case you mess up your eyes. You'll have a backup piece. So I took that piece of paper, fold it in half, and Maggie, you can do this for your pumpkins too. Eventually, you know, if you ever wanted to make more, if you want to make more of these later today as like more Halloween decorations. This is again, we're going to use symmetry, and then we're going to cut a circle, and I'll draw it. You don't have to draw it, but if you are like me, and sometimes you just need some lines, I'm going to draw a circle, pretty big. I can always make it trim it later. And we're going to cut the circle out. And you should have 2 when you're done. Okay, so I've got 2. One I need, one is a backup. One is the backup, just in case I mess up. Okay, so we'll give friends a little bit of time. A little bit of time to I think for the sake of my light, I'm going to just use this piece of black paper as a backdrop. It's a little bright, so this way you can see what I'm doing. Okay, everyone ready to see how to make the eye shape from a circle? Good, Remy, you ready? Oh, good. Oh, you made your own. Okay. So if you are doing this version, I'm going to take my circle and I'm going to cut it in half. Just like that. Okay. These are now 2 angry eyes when you turn them on their sides. Okay. So again, you had a circle, and if you just cut it in half, you'll end up with 2 shapes like this. Now, if you're doing a pumpkin, you can still do this shape. You can even put them in different directions to be different pumpkin shapes, or you could do the traditional triangle. That's up to you. The nice thing about jack-o'-lantern culture is they come in all shapes and sizes with so many different base variations. You can get real fun with it. Now, what I'd like to do at this point is you can hold it up to your bat or whatever it is that you did. And you can see the size. Now these are a little too big. I want these a little smaller. So I'm just going to trim them to be a little smaller. All right. And I'll test it out. I'm going to go just a little bit smaller once again. Maybe not quite such a bump. There we go. Oh, perfect, good, I like that. Okay, so I've got my angry bad eyes here. Rearrange my screen here for a second. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, so I've got my eyes here. And like I said, if you did it and it didn't turn out right the first time, you've got a backup circle. So you can remake the eyes again if you wanted to try something a little different. All right, so then using some of your scrap black paper, and you don't need a lot, so I'm going to use just use these 2 smaller pieces of black paper. we're gonna make an oval. We're gonna draw, we need to make an oval shape that's gonna be the pupil. So I'm just gonna use my pencil, draw an oval shape like that. And I've got the two pieces together. I only have to cut once. And I'm gonna cut the oval shape out. So we're gonna make this out of that. Now if you wanna use markers or crayons and color this, you could do that too. You kind of do whatever makes you feel comfortable. Okay, these are gonna be the pupil part of my back. And I like the size, that's good. I don't want them any smaller, that's perfect. The only thing I'm gonna do is then cut off the top to make them flat, just like that. So now I've got these flat eye parts. And if once you get these and you like it, you like how it looks, that's perfect. Then you can go ahead and glue them to the purple part. So I like how these look. I'm gonna use my glue and just glue these on. And I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing where these kind of match up. That's good to me. And like I said, they can be bigger, rounder. They can all look a little different. Okay. The next step we're going to do is we're going to make the little parts, the reflective parts that are part of the eye, just to make them pop and actually look more like eyes. So we're going to need some white paper, and just like with the orange or purple, whatever color you use for your eyes, we don't need a lot. We don't need this whole sheet. So I'm just going to cut off a strip again, I don't know, a couple inches, not very big, of my white paper. Turn down this light. So I just have a little strip of white paper. And we're going to make the fangs for the bat. And we're going to make and cut out the little white parts. So we're going to do the fangs and the little eye spots, right? The reflective part of the eye. And even if you did the pumpkins, you could do this even on the pumpkin ones, or the ghost. If you did ghost, you could do on the ghost. Anything that makes your eyes pop out, you could definitely add that detail to. So I'm going to fold the paper in half. I love symmetry because I don't like trying to make things that I draw match that have to match. So I have this paper folded in half, just so whatever I make comes out. For the teeth, for the fangs, they're just basic triangle shapes. But if you wanted to put like a little curve into them to make them little, like more fang-like, you could definitely add your own twist to it. You can make them as big or small as you want. I'm going to make mine probably about as long as like my finger is, because if they're too long, I can just make them shorter. I don't have to keep it that long. And I do like putting a little curve in mine. So I just did, oh, that came out way, right? So I'll turn it here. So you can see I did a little curved line here, and then went a little more straighter on this one. So it's still a triangle shape, but it definitely kind of has a fang look to it. And then you can cut those out. So I've got my fat fangs. They look a little fat to me. I might make these a little skinnier. Make it a little skinnier. Just hold them back together. There we go. There we go. I like that. I've got some fangs. And then you've got plenty of little pieces of scrap paper. You just need to make 2 little white circles. And that's okay if these don't match. That's fine. So I'm just gonna hold up. I got 2 pieces of paper, I'm holding them together, and I'm just gonna cut a little circle. And these do not need, they should not be perfect. Just a little circle. Kiddos, you might need an adult to help you with this. That's fine to get them small enough. It's up to you. Still a little big. Because these do get kind of small. I will tell you that. So don't be worried if you need to ask somebody to help you. And they're not perfect circles. Right? I didn't do perfect circles. That's good. I'm okay with that. And look at that. Doesn't that help make your eyes pop? Once you add that little detail to it. All right, I'm going to pause here. Pause here. I'm going to make sure all of our. Sorry, my. There we go. My Zoom decided it wanted to put the cameras all in a different spot. So I'm going to pause here, let everyone get caught up making fangs. I can also re-show you how to make fangs or the eyes. And just let me know. You can ask me in the chat or just turn your microphone on. We're not that big of a group today. Let's do another trivia while we wait for everyone to get caught up. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, spiders have 8 legs, but what other body part do they have that is also 8? They've got 8 legs, and usually, this isn't always true, but usually they have 8 of something else. 8 legs and 8 of another thing. What do you think? Ooh. Hearts, eyes, hearts. Ears, ooh, tails. So from our response here, typically it's eyes. They have 8 eyes. Now some have more, some have less. But yeah, they usually actually have 8 eyes. Usually they'll have 2 large ones, and they'll have kind of 6 smaller ones all around. It's almost like 1 eye per leg. Helps to keep them all. I can see the ears though, and the hearts is a good guess too. The hearts is cool. Oop, I jumped my thing. Keep doing that. All right, I'm just gonna glue down my little eye spots before I lose them. And usually I put one on the inside corner and then one will go on the outside of the other one, just because usually when light hits the eyes, it's not typically always hitting in the same spot. But you can put them wherever they kind of just help make the eyes pop, which is what we're going for. All right, so I've got my eyes, I have my fangs. Yes, Remy.
Are you going to do bat ears?
Yep, we're gonna make the ears next. All right, so you've got this piece of paper here, your extra one. Now you could definitely just make 2 triangle ears. Or like if I look, like I've got some shapes here are pretty cool. These could definitely be some cool bat ears. So you could definitely just cut off parts that you've already made, or you could redraw the shape you want. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off. I have this kind of cool part here, so I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to reuse this kind of end shape. But this is what we're looking for. We're looking for something that comes to a point. Again, basic triangle shape. It will work. I'm just going to trim it up, and we'll see what I get. So I'm just going to trim the edges here. I don't think it needs to be that big. So I'm just going to cut off some of these. Okay, and you can take your base, you can check things out with your base. All right, so I've got my base here, and I can kind of put the ears in and see. I definitely don't need that much on the end. Like I said, these can definitely just be some basic triangle shapes, right? Mine's got little tips on the ears. So these are ones that I just cut off of my other sheet, but if you wanted to draw it out too, just like the fangs, they're just gonna be bigger. You just need to make sure that they're bigger than. I can do that same shape for the ears. I just do a basic triangle shape. I just curved my lines a little bit. And since this is the folded piece of paper, I can open it up and I can cut them apart. So whatever way you want to do your bat ears, you can do. All right, now once you have your pieces all assembled, and I'm gonna pick these ears. I like the little wispy points to them. Just take my pieces off. And you can start working with the base of your lantern again, right? You got the wings on, and we're gonna start attaching the pieces. So I'll attach the ears first, kind of work my way down. And for you at home, it is much easier to do this with it standing up, but it's a little hard for me to do. It's a little too close to the camera, so I'll do mine sitting. So you're going to glue your ears in, right? So at the top, and glue them to the inside. You can see them a little too much on the outside, so I'm going to put glue on and then glue it to the inside of the ring. Right, so my glue stick. Trusty glue stick here. A little bit of glue. And then glue it to inside. Just give it a couple minutes. Now, Maggie, for pumpkins, you could make some green vines and glue that around the top, right? So if you're doing a pumpkin one, this would be a good time. You get some green paper and glue and make some vines and leaves coming off of your pumpkin. That would be something good to do. And don't lose your bits. Okay, I want to make sure I glue the right side. Glue on this side. Glue my other ear on. And like I said, I'm gluing to the inside of the ring. And so if I turn it over here, you can see I glued to the inside part. If you glue to the outside, it's fine. You're just going to see the edge of the paper. All right, I'm gonna wait a minute for people to get their ears cut and on. And while we wait, let's do another trivia. Okay, so this one is a little harder. And this one I think might be a little challenging. That's fine. So which traditional Halloween game, right? So at Halloween, we play lots of different games. Which game has its origins from a Roman harvest festival that honored the goddess of fruit trees? So this is an ancient festival, right? It honored the goddess of fruit trees. And we play a Halloween game that they used to do at this festival. So it's a Halloween game that we play, but it started in this festival, and it was about a goddess of fruit trees. Can anyone think of the game? You can type it in the chat, or if you're not sure how to spell, again, you can also just ask me, and you can turn your microphone on. So if it's a little hard to type, you can just ask and you can share. Oh, and we've got 3 bobbing for apples. And you would be correct. Yes, it is bobbing for apples. So again, that's an ancient, like traditional game or activity that was at this harvest festival in Rome. So it's ancient Rome. And they would bob for apples. All right, is there anybody who needs a step repeated or reshown? I can definitely do that right now before we get ready to finish up. All right. Looks like everyone's good to go. Okay, so we're gonna do the eyes. Now the fun thing is, since you did your eyes, you can do them. You can have them angry, right? So the more they point up, right? So if you take the corner, the more they point up, the angrier they look. They can be just kind of normal, flat eyes, or you can even make it a sad bad. So depending on how you glue the eyes on, will kind of determine the emotion of your little bat here, right? So I'm going to do mine kind of angry, and I'm going to use again. Remember, I said I'm okay with leaving this line here because I'm going to use that line to help me glue. So you're going to glue your eye on however you want your eyes to look. Now, I will say this too. I'm only going to put glue on the edge here. I'm not going to glue the whole thing down. If you look at the sample I made, it's glued, but this part is kind of loose. And I think it gives it like a more three-dimensional, kind of just fun, cartoony look. But you can definitely glue the whole thing down. So if you want to glue the whole eye down, you can do that. Or you can do what I'm going to do and only glue the corner. So here's my bat. Do my first eye. I know I just threw it off the camera. So again, I only put glue right here at the corner. Oh, Maggie, got some vines going, nice. And then I'm going to glue it on. And again, I use kind of the pencil there to help me. And glue it on. Like I said, go, you can, reach your hand inside. I'll let that one dry. I'm gonna do the same for this one. And I'm only putting glue at the corner edge, not the whole thing. And then kind of match up those corners. You can put as much space in between them as you want. I like them to be pretty close. And then push it in.
It makes the bat look angrier when you put them close.
Yeah, yeah, it's like when you frown, right? It draws it in. There we go. So I've got somewhat angry. He's not crazy angry, but he's
Just grumpy.
It's grumpy. Like grumpy bat. And then once you have your eyes on, then you can do your fangs. Okay, and you can put your, and same thing with the fangs. You can have them go straight up and down on one of the slats, or you can have them kind of overhang. I'm gonna have mine at an angle just so they kind of hang over. And you can space them as far apart as you want. I usually do them right on the first the two slats that are where the eyes are connected. But you could, if you want to really space them out, you can, again, it'll kind of just make it any way you want. Like I said, they can go straight up and down, or you can also angle them. I like to put mine on an angle. So I'm going to glue them down however you like. And for the fangs, you want to put them below where the lantern part folds, right? If you put it over top of it, that part's not going to fold down. It's not going to do that effect. So it's below the fold in the black paper. And there we go. Got our Batman guy there. And I'll do one more trivia While we wait for everyone to get their eyes and fangs glued on, and then we'll do the handle as our finishing element. But we'll do one more trivia. So Day of the Dead, or Dia de los Muertos, is a holiday celebrated in what country? Which is a little, it's not Halloween, they do it a little different. But what country is the Day of the Dead, or Dia de los Muertos, celebrated? I saw Remy jumping on that one. Oh, yep, Mexico, yep. Yes, Mexico. So Mexico is the country that celebrates the Day of the Dead. And it's, does anyone know the date it's usually celebrated on? Does anyone know the date of Dia de los Muertos? Maggie, what's the date? You can turn your microphone on.
Is it November 1st and November 2nd?
Yeah, it's actually November 1st and November 2nd. So basically you also have All Hallows Eve, which is on October 30th. So last night or yesterday would have been All Hallows Eve, and that's more of the European part of the day, Halloween. It's called Mischief Night. That was typically when people would celebrate, and then Halloween would be its own thing. But yeah, so the Day of the Dead is November 1st into November 2nd. Good. We are all up to date on our facts. All right, so the last step we're going to do on our bats, and again, if you're doing the pumpkin or the ghost, any of these, we're going to do the handle part. So I'm just going to put, and again, you can make the handle as tall or short as you want. So you can measure it out. I want it to be pretty tall, taller than my ear. So I'm going to use this whole strip. You could trim it to make it a little shorter. But we put glue on both ends that you can see. So both ends get glue. And just like the ears, we want to go to the inside part of the lantern. And this is where, again, holding it straight up, because where the wings are, this is more important probably for the bat than any of them. You want to go between where the wings and the ears are. And I'm just going to put that in like that. And then just curl my other side over. And again, it's going in between where the ears and the wings meet. Okay, or between them. And then there is our lantern. Now, these little lights, I tried to make this where I actually put a little base on it. So I actually took a piece of paper and I glued it into the inside part, and then I put a light in. It didn't really work that great. You'd have to really, you need some probably thicker paper than construction paper for it to do it. So again, just in case I wanted to enrich this a little further, let me zoom out a little more. Yeah, so I tried to put a little piece of paper here that I could then drop my candle in. But like I said, it was too big and it just had like big gaps in it. So if you had some thicker paper, you could probably do that. Oh, they say you have Halloween. Or if you wanted these to sit like on a table for like a little centerpiece, what you can do, and I still had the handle parts. This is my sample one, but since that's drying, so my handle, I just pushed it in, right? So you can still hang it later if you wanted to, just to show that again. So here's the handle, it's glued in, but if you wanted it to be like a desk, like a tabletop decoration, just push it in, just kind of fold it down, right? So it's still there. And then you can put your little light up candle, your tea light, and then it can sit over top and it can glow and you can use it for some fun decoration. This would also be good too. So if you're doing the pumpkin one, right, remove the jack-o'-lantern face, do some cool vines, maybe some pattern on the paper, and do the tea light. It'd be great for Thanksgiving, right? So Thanksgiving's coming up. You can still use this lantern concept, just take the Halloween features off of it, do some fun harvest stuff. You can make one look like corn, one could look like pumpkins or gourds. Like I said, do some fun vine things, and then you could still use some tea lights in it. Right.
The only thing, kids, don't try to use the actual candle because it's a paper project. You can only use, what is it, like electric
Yeah,
candle?
yeah, this is a battery one. Let me turn off this light, you can see. So here's my battery one, right? And like I said, if it goes inside, it's probably still a little too light, right? You can kind of see it'll light up a little bit. Here, it's still a little bright in my office for this, but yeah, you could definitely and have it sitting. You have like a little tea light. Yeah, this is a battery one, so not a real fire. Light back on. Good. All right, I'm just gonna cap my glue stick. Don't forget to cap your glue sticks. That's always the worst. Finding a glue stick. Maybe that's all dried.
Do you have a pumpkin done that you can show me for ideas for the vines?
You know, I didn't, so I was not supposed to do this today, so I rushed to do the bat one I did. So no, I don't have a pumpkin one. But Maggie did some vines. Maggie, you want to hold yours up so we can see the vines you put at the top? She did some cute little vines. I would, and I'll do something real quick while Maggie's grabbing hers. Definitely.
I did a bat, but I started a pumpkin, so I want to finish the pumpkin, but I just need ideas.
So one of the cool, oh, I stop sharing. So probably something that you could do with the pumpkin, and this is green paper, just comes off a little lighter. For the vines would be just to take your scissors and just start, and the first one probably won't, but I just kind of go around and just give it some natural kind of edge to it. I probably wouldn't use that piece. And you want them fairly thin. And then what you can do is nice, and because their paper is, if you do like crossover folds, right? You could start getting, and then too, so like with glue, and I'll use this guy here. This is my original sample. So if I were to have this at the top, and again, this is where kind of using the inside rim is nice to hide some stuff. I'll put some glue on. You were gluing the inside part here. Right. And you can kind of just bring it or get it down. So I'm going to measure here. I'm going to glue it there. So I'm going to put some glue on this side. Glue that part down, right? So it still looks like that. And then this part I can either glue it in, or you can just fold it in, right? Just fold it over. And you could probably make a few vines to do it. The trick is not having to worry about gluing everything down. So if you keep the paper nice and thin, you should be able to kind of get some curl to it. And it's more just gluing down specific points.
Quiet.
Right, so if you glue down just certain parts of it, you could probably even get some like curls in it. And just have it go all around.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Lindsay, do you think it also can work with small stapler?
I mean, you could. You're just gonna see the staples. Like I said, you're gonna see one part of it at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, good, Mindy, thank you. Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Can we see the final projects? And Lindsay,
Yeah.
can you stop sharing for a sec?
Here, let me stop sharing.
Oh, Remy, you have a question?
Oh, Laura's got blood.
For Thanksgiving, I made turkeys like
Oh.
last year.
Oh, that's save them to show on the next Family Arts Academy on November 21st, because it will be Thanksgiving themed. Your turkeys will be right in place there. Yay, can you show us your lantern? And Maggie, do you have yours? Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so Laura, she's got some blood dripping down. Jen, is
And
yours
the
all purple?
pumpkin.
Did you do an all purple one?
Wonderful. Okay, now hold it for one more second. I'm
Oh,
going
Remy,
to
yours has got like some,
that. Here's my screenshot.
yours is like a bat devil. Remy, that's cool. Oh, nice.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much. Wonderful projects. I hope you had a good time. And we'll send best wishes to Melissa and her family. And we'll see you next time in November.
Yeah. Oh, Jen, another thought for the pumpkin vines too. The green ribbon, like the Christmas ribbon. You could take and do the curls with the Christmas ribbon. That might look really cool too. Yeah. Versus just paper. I mean, and probably even if you mixed them up, do some paper, some ribbon, that could look really fun too. Yeah, Remy. Hi, Maggie.
You
Happy
could use
holidays.
pipe cleaners.
Pipe cleaners too. Yeah, some of the nicer Chanel pipe cleaners. Yeah, could definitely get some texture in there. Yep. Oh, good suggestions. Well, I hope everyone has a great day. It looks like the weather in our area should be nice.
Well, happy trick-or-treating. Don't eat too much candy.
Eat it all.
Or eat candy, but brush your teeth. Whatever works.
Yeah. The teeth
So
brush.
have a wonderful day. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Maggie. Bye. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Laura.